When John Carpenter's version of The Thing first hit theaters all the way back in 1982, it was far from a hit. Making a mere $3 million in its opening weekend, the Kurt Russell creature feature debuted in 8th place at the box office, behind such science fiction hits as E.T., The Extraterrestrial, Blade Runner, and Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Thankfully, a whole new audience was able to discover the film's brilliance at the rental store and on cable television. Horror fans raved about the disgusting yet mind-blowing practical effects, helping to turn the box office bomb into a genuine cult classic. Even now, 4 decades later, The Thing has become a staple of YouTube reaction channels, preserving its place as one of the best horror films to come out of the 1980s. And then, in 2002, Computer Artworks turned the movie into a video game. While not as good as the film, and certainly limited by the technology of the time, it nevertheless had some good ideas that actually set it apart from all of the other first and third-person shooters on the market, helping to turn it into a cult favorite. Now, 2 decades later, Nightdive has given the game a new facelift and added enough modern flair to give it the second chance at life that the movie had. But does that mean that you should buy it? Well, that's what we're about to find out when I review The Thing Remastered. In case you missed it, when The Thing was released 22 years ago, it essentially works as a sequel to the 1982 movie. It takes place after MacReady, Childs, and the rest of the Antarctica station comes face to face with an alien organism that's able to take the shape of humans, dogs, and, well, pretty much anything else that it runs into. We play a new character named Blake, who is sent in to rescue the possible survivors and investigate what exactly went on here. As you can imagine, this mission quickly spirals out of control, creating a level of tension where you never really know if your own team members are humans or one of those sneaky aliens. Just like with the John Carpenter movie, this is a great setup for a horror game. That sense of unease and not knowing who's a friend or foe is genuinely unnerving, something that's only heightened by the isolation of Antarctica. It's easy to see why a developer like Computer Artworks would be inspired by the premise, and actually do a good job of weaving the best elements from the movie into the video game. This is the kind of movie adaptation that another developer could have just half-assed, turning it into little more than Half-Life in the snow. But that's not the case here, because Computer Artworks had a few good ideas on how to translate that fear into the video game. A lot of this plays out in the squad, which allows up to 4 NPCs to join Blake as he investigates the various outposts and facilities in Antarctica. You'll team up with medics who can heal both you and the computer players, mechanics that can repair broken doors, and soldiers that can, well, shoot at aliens. In fact, all your teammates can hold their own in a firefight, making them incredibly useful to have on your side. Of course, not all of them will immediately trust you at first, so you're gonna need to show some loyalty by giving them a gun or maybe providing a blood sample proving that you're not one of those shape-shifting aliens. Now, what makes the squad system so damn cool is that from time to time, a teammate will reveal that they're not all they appear to be. Everything will be going fine, and then out of nowhere, your medic will grow a new limb or mutate in front of your eyes. For this remaster, Nightdive has actually gone in and changed how the infections work, making it more random as opposed to a scripted moment like in the original game. This leads to a lot of unpredictability in each playthrough, as you won't always be able to rely on having the same support. This adds to the general distrust you have with each and every person that you rescue along the way. Now look, for as much as I love this aspect of the game, it's also a constant reminder that this is just an update to the 2002 game and not something wholly new. When Computer Artworks implemented this mechanic 2 decades ago, it felt more like a proof of concept than a fully fleshed out feature. It's the kind of thing that you maybe toy around with in the first game, only to then blow it up in a big way in the sequel. Unfortunately, there was no sequel, so they never really had a chance to take that paranoia system to the next level. And even though it's been vastly improved in this new game, I couldn't help but wonder what it would be like if it was a brand new game or even a full-fledged remake that could take advantage of the advancements of computer AI. It still feels like this game is only scratching at the surface of what's possible. If you were a big fan of the 2002 version of The Thing, and you're just looking for better graphics and some tweaks to the way the infections work, then make no mistake about it, this will deliver everything that you want. Nightdive does incredible work, and this is yet another remaster to be proud of. This is a huge improvement over the original release, and the changes that they make go a long way to shake things up in some pretty great ways. But even with the improved graphics and the fresh scares, this is a remaster that reminded me why I found that 2002 game so disappointing in the first place. Part of the problem is that the story just isn't very compelling. From the moment we step into that outpost from the movie, we know exactly what to expect. There's no mystery here, no sense of discovery at all. We're not surprised when a teammate transforms into an alien creature because, well, that's just straight out of the movie. The twists and turns the game tries to throw at you are both predictable and kinda lame. It also doesn't help that Blake is a bland character and we never really get to know the rest of the cast. Because this is a rescue mission, a lot of the interaction comes down to finding a human, letting them fix a door or two, watching them die or turn into an alien, and then finding somebody else to repeat that process. The supporting cast aren't real characters, so you won't really care when one of them dies. Part of what made the movie work is that you could really tell that there was a camaraderie between the handful of people in that research station. These weren't strangers, but rather co-workers who had real human connections before the movie even started. There's nothing like that in this game. This version of The Thing is really missing that human element. I suspect a lot of this can be blamed on the dopey decision to make this a sequel as opposed to a prequel. Yes, I know that Hollywood eventually got there with a 2011 movie that was also confusingly titled The Thing. But look, that was almost a full decade after this game came out. Had the developers set it in the Norwegian camp prior to the events of the film, it really would have solved a lot of the story problems. For example, it would have allowed computer artworks to construct a full cast of memorable characters that we could bond with and actually like, all while introducing real surprises that we wouldn't see coming. Add real social connections to the paranoia system, and you know what? You have something special on your hands. Of course, this is an argument for a modern remake or even a brand new game. I can't hold Nightdive responsible for decisions made 22 years ago, and as they say, hindsight is 2020. This is a fun 2002 action game with a really cool gimmick, something that helped to set it apart from many of the other first and third-person shooters of the time. Nightdive has done a really wonderful job improving on what made the game so unique, all while updating the graphics and the gameplay. But even that can only go so far to mask the narrative and technological limitations that plagued the game. The Thing Remastered is a solid enough action title, but it just isn't on the same level as the 1982 movie or even the 1951 adaptation starring Gunsmoke's James Arness. Yeah, that's a pull. Making a sequel to a beloved cult classic film can be fraught with dangers. But the 2002 version of The Thing manages to perfectly capture the fear and paranoia that made the 1982 movie so iconic. The characters are a bit bland, and the narrative isn't all that compelling, but the squad-based gameplay is both fun and full attention. You never know when one of your teammates is going to turn on you, making each playthrough an unpredictable experience. While some of the stage designs and the gameplay quirks feel a bit outdated by today's standards, Nightdive has really done an excellent job expanding on the best elements of the original game and giving fans something that they can be proud of. The Thing Remastered is yet another solid upgrade for Nightdive Studios. Hey, thanks for watching my review. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that we post new reviews and features almost every day. Well, except for the last week or so, because I injured my elbow. But hey, it's all healed up now, and I'm back to the grind. Now, here's the question I have for you. What movie to game adaptation is the most underrated? It used to be that games based on movies were terrible. You know what? There have been some really good ones over the last few decades. I mean, the thing is way better than it has any right to be. I can't wait to see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back later this week with more reviews and a brand new Review Crew episode. We're also going to end the year strong with a Christmas-themed episode and a New Year's special. While you wait for that, I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,